Welcome to It's Happening. My name is Jared. And today I've got a pretty good episode for you guys. But before I get into it, let's first start with some announcements. Before I do that, if you would hit the like button, subscribe button, comment below, tag your friends, share it with your friends. That helps our family business grow so that we are able to hire people in the future to be able to continue to be productive members of society. Anyways, guys, but for real, guys, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, like, comment. It helps the algorithm so we get seen more. There are other ways you can help support us as well. If I will have links for that as well. You can support us by giving us stars on Facebook, tips on X. You can support us by buying our products that we sell, things like that. We are working on coming up with other ways to bring y'all great products and to bring in ways for you guys to also learn how you can earn money online as well. I will keep y'all updated on all of those things. My first announcement is don't forget about my wife's amazing tumblers. This is one of them. She is absolutely amazing, and we can personalize them however you want. We do handmade ones, do a lot of other things, and for all you local people, you might like this one. All you have to do is go to vandystreet.com. The link will be in the comments. If you have any questions or you want to make a specific order for yourself, then please just message me and let me know. Comment below. Let me know. I am setting up to do another giveaway soon. And for any of my giveaways, you must be following my Rumble account to be able to be entered on the giveaways. All right. So saying that, let's get into it. So this video is going to be a brief history of what the Democrats do not teach people anymore. They don't want you to know anymore, or they're very good at always trying to say, oh, but there was a party switch. I encourage you to take 30 minutes and really look into that party switch. And I promise you, you'll realize that there was never a party switch. Do parties sway from time to time? Absolutely. We're witnessing it right now before our very eyes with what's going on with the Democrats in war and then becoming the party of big corporations, the party of the elites, the war party, the party of totalitarianism, authoritarianism, communism. That's who they've always been back through history. And I'm going to show you. So this is just a brief history and we'll comment on it a little bit, or I may just let the video play. I'm not sure yet, but I think it's important for people to start seeing this. And please share this with your family and friends because it's very important that we do not allow the people in power to continue to manipulate history so they can stay in power. All right, guys, let me go ahead and pull it up. This first one I'm going to pull up, I'm just going to read a little bit from, and then I'm going to play a video. All right, so I'm going to go up a little bit. Let's see here. Let's see here. Where was I? All right, I'll just stop back down here because this is where we're at. The new Jim Crow. And the decades. Hold on, let me make sure it's working for you guys. All right, it is. All right, in the decades that followed, Democrats presided municipally over the most impoverished urban populations, assuring plummeting literacy rates and a deteriorating status quo. They promoted minimum wage laws and priced blacks out of the workforce. Let me say that one more time for all of y'all that don't remember the history of the minimum wage laws and really what it was designed to do and all of that. Here it is. They promoted minimum wage laws and priced blacks out of the workforce. And this is the party who claims to be for black people. The Liberal Economic Policy Institute found that for every 10% increase in the minimum wage, minority unemployment increases by 3.9%. And now they've stepped it up to the fight for 15 to sow further disunity. Democrats push fake hate crime stories. Kentucky State Assistant Professor Wilfred Riley found that over 2/3 of reported hate crimes are hoaxes and media circuses over police murders of unarmed blacks. They spread cherry-picked and fallacious statistics about police shootings. The National Academy of Sciences found no significant evidence of anti-black disparity and the likelihood of being fatally shot by police. On the basis of these lies, Democrats encourage masked domestic terrorist mobs to protest in black neighborhoods, reducing them to rubble in the process. They inexplicably turned what could have been a rare opportunity for national unity into the tragic death of George Floyd, of which not a single American disputed the injustice, into a deadly, apocalyptic showdown demanding justice for George Floyd. All right. The Democratic data from Civis Analytics has shown that black voters are just as more likely as white ones to support hiring more police rather than less. The Minority Rights and Relations Survey by Gallup reported more blacks, 38%, say they want a greater police presence in their local communities than whites do. So, yeah. So you can see all the manipulation, the lies, the playing on your emotions to get you to continue to vote for them, because they need to. They have to give you this revision of history. And they have to remake history. They have to play off of your emotions. They have to play off your gender. They have to play off all of those things because their policies are designed to crush us, not to help us. Not one bit. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull up a video that's going to show you the brief history of the racist Democrats. And just keep in mind, all they've done was switch tactics, and they found a way to get you to think it's okay to be a racist to white people, to get you to feel this white guilt, this white shame. I mean, it's mind-blowing when you think about it. They have pulled off the biggest con ever. Ever. Let's check it out.
Was one of the great so-called leading progressive intellectuals of the late 1800s and 1900s. He became president of Princeton University. He was governor of New Jersey, and he was elected president of the United States. And as president, he overturned every major pro-integration law that was put in place by the Republicans who preceded him.
What was that? Y'all guys hear that? Remember, this is a Democrat.
Wilson resegregated the departments of the federal government. He fired black federal administrators. He was openly sympathetic to the Ku Klux Klan. He opposed black suffrage and screened the racist movie Birth of a Nation at the White House. He was even critical of Reconstruction.
Screened the racist movie at the White House.
Less than 60 years ago, the 1964 Civil Rights Act was opposed by 69% of Senate Democrats, supported by 82% of Senate Republicans. It was opposed by 61% of House Democrats and supported by 80% of House Republicans.
Again, Who's the party actually fighting for civil rights for all, and especially for blacks? The paper trails are out there, people. All we got to do is look.
And so of those who voted no in the House, 74% were Democrats. Those who voted in the Senate, 78% were Democrats who said no. And among those who filibustered the legislation for 70 days was West Virginia's Democratic Senator Robert Byrd. And Byrd spoke for 14 hours in a desperate last-ditch effort to kill the bill. Yet Byrd would go on to serve as the Senate Democratic leader from 1977 to 89, including Majority Leader from 77 to 80.
From 77 to 89. Now, when is it again that they talked about the party switch during the 60s and all that? This right here proves that that is a flat out lie. I mean, good.
81 and 87 to 89, and Minority Leader from 81 to 87. In other words, he was the leader of the Democrats for a very long time in the Senate, despite his background. He was also the longest serving senator in the history of the Senate. He came a long way, did Robert Byrd. As a young man, he was a chief recruiter and organizer for the Klan in West Virginia, and apparently did a very good job of it as a Grand Kleagle. When Byrd died, he was praised in glowing terms by the leading lights of the Democratic Party ruling class, including Joe Biden.
And there's another sign. Y'all continue to try and point the finger at Republicans for being racist bigots and we're this and we're that. This is in our recent history. Look at who Joe Biden is hugging, for God's sake. What will it take for you to believe what you see with your own eyes instead of listening to some Harvard professor or some other liberal professor or the liberal media trying to convince you that that's Donald Trump? That is Joe Biden hugging that racist.
Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the rest, and several called him their great mentor. Okay, but there's more. Joe Biden in the early to mid 1970s as senator actually worked closely with some of the Senate's most notorious racists and segregationists, including Mississippi Senator James Eastland, who had fought hard against the Civil Rights Acts of 1964 and 65. He was opposed to public school integration, but guess what? So was Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't just compromise with segregationists. He fought for their cause in schools, experts say. And Biden has often bragged about receiving praise from the late Alabama Democratic Governor George Wallace, one of the leading racists and segregationists. Wallace called Biden one of the outstanding young politicians of America. But the Democrat Party's greatest icon was FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, largely due to his New Deal agenda, and it transformed the United States away from constitutionalism and capitalism towards centralism and socialism. And for this reason, more has been done to immunize his reputation from his racist legacy than any other public figure, dead or alive. 1942, Roosevelt issued Executive Order 9006, the military rounding up 120,000 Japanese Americans, including 70,000 U.S. citizens. They were forcibly.
Man, I mean, talk about history repeating itself. Hillary Clinton wants to round up MAGA or Republican. Let's just say she wants to round up anyone who thinks differently than a Democrat. I mean, look at that. That's exactly what the Democrats did in the past. It is history repeating itself.
Relocated to internment camps in remote parts of the country. 10 different military camps in the Midwest, one in Arkansas. They lost their homes, their property, and their liberties. In 1944, in a case called Korematsu versus United States, the Supreme Court upheld the internment order in a 6-3 decision. And Associate Justice Hugo Black, writing for the majority, he led the way to uphold that decision. Now, who is Hugo Black? Black rose through the Democratic Party ranks in Alabama. He was a lawyer for the Klan in the 1920s. He resigned from the Klan but kept in contact with them. He was elected to the United States Senate with the help of the Klan in 1926. He opposed the Wagner-Costagan anti-lynching bill and was an intensely loyal supporter of Roosevelt and the New Deal. In 1937, he was rewarded by Roosevelt as the first nominee to the Supreme Court. His overall record as justice is mixed and disputed. He was an activist for Roosevelt's economic socialism, but he also insisted on the strict interpretation of the Bill of Rights, with certain main exceptions. That said, Hugo Black Jr., Black's son, recalling the appeal of the Klan to his father, stated the Ku Klux Klan and Daddy, so far as I could tell, had one thing in common. He suspected the Catholic Church. He thought the Pope and the bishops had too much power and too much property. So Roosevelt's first nominee to the Supreme Court had been an activist with the Klan. And of course, he wrote the majority.
So for all you young people who may be watching this, who continue to try and tell me that the Republican Party has anything to do with the KKK, here's your sign.
Opinion upholding Roosevelt's internment of Japanese Americans. Roosevelt also established the Federal Housing Administration, the FHA, in 1934. You may have used it, you may have heard of it. Its ostensible purpose was to insure mortgages, thereby promoting home ownership. But it furthered racial segregation. Why? It denied insurance in and around Black neighborhoods. Incredibly, the FHA was subsidizing builders who were mass producing entire subdivisions for whites.
How about that? I mean, here's another side. Well, those Democrats sure do care about you, don't they?
Requirement that none of the homes be sold to African Americans. Did you know that? Of course not. The term redlining comes from the development by the New Deal by the federal government of maps of every metropolitan area. And the areas where we were not supposed to give these insurance backings for the mortgage were Black areas. They were called the red areas. Hence the term for redlining. Roosevelt infamously and unceremoniously slighted the great Olympian Jesse Owens in 1936. Owens had won multiple gold medals. The Olympians from 1936 in Berlin, Hitler's Berlin, were invited to the White House with the exception of Jesse Owens. Owens was once asked if he was snubbed by Hitler. Hitler didn't snub me, he said. It was FDR who snubbed me. The president didn't even send me a telegram. Even with lynching going on, I had mentioned that Senator Hugo Black, who'd become a justice on the Supreme Court, opposed the anti-lynching bill in the early 1930s. Roosevelt said he opposed lynching. He was lobbied by his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, to support the bill, but he refused because he put politics ahead of principle. Roosevelt would not support or sign a federal anti-lynching bill, which would have to come later. I want you to think about that, folks. And there's more about the Democrats and Roosevelt, of course, even to this day. But the Republicans never stood in any schoolhouse doorway to block little Black kids from going to school with little white kids. The Republicans never supported systemic voter suppression or repression, as the Democrats did and they claim today. The Republicans never supported Jim Crow, literacy tests, and all the rest of it, ever. And the Republicans never supported lynching. They were the ones pushing bills to end it. That's a piece of history of the Democrat Party. Now, of course, both parties are imperfect. There are exceptions. But the pattern, the malignant, persistent pattern in the Democrat Party goes way back. It's a very evil party. It's a very anti-American party. If they want to discuss race, let's learn our history. Let's learn their history, and let's discuss race. What amazes me with all the talk about tearing down Confederate monuments and symbols and burning their books.
All right, I'll stop sharing that one right there. But guys, I think I hope you're getting the point here. I hope that you're understanding and that you're waking up and you're starting to pay more attention, because no, I don't claim any party in this country. What I look for is the actual truth, not your truth, not my truth, because there is no such thing as that. There is the truth. There is only the truth. Now, people manipulate that to be able to get their own desires or get to their power. But we as voters, we as American citizens we should stop being so damn lazy for one. We need to get more involved in our communities and talking to one another. We need to reach out to the Black community and sit down and have conversations with them so they can get to know us, what our values are, what they really are, not what they're told on social media, not what the Democrats say we are, not what your college professors or high school teachers or middle school teachers say we are. It's about time we get over the BS and learn how to sit together and find some common ground between you and I. We will never find common ground with those in power. And if we don't start finding common ground with you and I, those in power will take all of that away. Look through all out history. What is going on right now is just a repetition. It's repeating. And another thing, if I remember correctly, what we did to Russia is what they are doing to us now. They've got us involved with the war in Ukraine. We're sending all of our money and weapons over there. Now this thing in Israel, if Putin Putin's praying for us to start sending money and more weapons over there. And if it comes to the case with that, where they're being fully surrounded, then we can talk about that. But as far as that goes, Israel has a military that can take care of Hamas, and we should let them do it. We should be their allies. But if we fall into that trap that Putin is hoping, that leaves all of us citizens here vulnerable. And don't forget, the border's been wide open. Putin backs Venezuela. They emptied the Venezuelan prisons and they've sent them all here. They're sending military-age men from Venezuela who Putin backs to our country. And our country is giving them room and board and building them places to live. They're giving them more food stamps than any of us could ever get. They're getting actual money, phones, health care. Unbelievable. It's unreal. We have allowed the enemy to come into our house. Now we better all get our crap together and shut it down. Think of that border as your house. I mean, come on. It's just not that hard. You cannot have a country that will be successful if you let overwhelming numbers of people come in from all over the world that we know nothing about, that we don't have a damn clue whether they're terrorists or whether they just got out of prison. They're not vaccinating these people. They're not forcing them to be vaccinated like they're trying to do to us. They're not even testing them when they come in this country. Sure seems to me like the Democrat Party is working with all the other socialist dictators, communist parties to help put America in its place, because that's exactly what the Democrats want. They don't want equality. They don't want they want equity, but the only kind of equity they want is all of us peasants are equally screwed while they store food and buy up all the farmland and control everything, and they get to live their comfortable lives while we're the ones who are screwed. That's what equity is going to bring you. We need merit-based system with equality. Yes, we understand that people need help. We're not against that. And that lie that the Democrats try and keep using, just stop it. I do believe that we should work on allowing productive members of society into our country and vamping the system to where it works a little bit more faster, but only in a way that where we know these people are coming from, we know who they are, we can get somewhat of their past. All for it. Anything that helps better America. And the Democrats are not doing that. Thank you guys for watching so much. And again, if you've watched this far, don't forget to please like this video, comment on it, share it with your friends, tag your friends, tell your friends and family. It'll help our small family business grow so that we can start giving other people opportunities as well. We want to bring truth out there. And again, as always, if I'm wrong, I have no issue coming back on here and saying, you know what? I'm wrong. You're right. I apologize. You guys have a wonderful day, and don't ever forget, it is happening.